Hey guys, it's Leo Stargazer. I'm here with our daily tarot reading. Today is Monday, July 31st, and my intention for the day is engaged intellectualism. If that doesn't work for you, just think understanding the day. I know it's a kind of interesting intention, but today I'm really focused on kind of continuing my engagement with complexity from yesterday. But today I want to shift that from complexity, just kind of broadly, into specifically an intellectual approach. So the idea of kind of the hard thinking today. I want to bring a sense of intellect to my day, a sense of the learned, a sense of a detailed focus on something, still with the complexity from yesterday, or the idea of that, or just accepting complexity. But more today, I want to focus on the intellect. Yesterday's spread hinted a lot at intuition. I want to see how that can tie into an intellectual approach as well. So let's see what the cards show us. Okay, so as I begin my shuffle, I'm repeating the words engaged intellectualism. I'm repeating them. I'm letting them mean what I feel they mean for me today. As I start to shuffle, I'm taking deep breaths. I'm centering myself, and I'm trying to think about the intellect, what I know, how I learn, how I can engage in that part of me. That's what I'm going to be doing as I shuffle. So go ahead and do that with me while I take a few moments. Okay, so I've shuffled the deck, I've brought it from chaos into unity, and I am ready to draw my first card. I'm doing the thinking, feeling, doing spread as usual. So the card that I draw in the thinking position is the Five of Pentacles. Okay, the Five of Pentacles in the thinking position is definitely showing me that we are thinking about the struggle today. Maybe that's in a good way. Maybe it's thinking about the struggle because we're making it through it. Maybe we're making it through it with someone. This card in particular shows us moving through some struggle with another person or a group. You may also be thinking today about reaching out for help and wondering whether or not that help will be offered. That may seem kind of specific, but the idea of help offered or potentially not, even help withheld, is kind of hinted in this card. But overall, the way that I'm viewing it is in the thinking position. I think we are thinking about the struggle. I want to remind us that our intention was engaged intellectualism. So in the thinking position, I feel like that's definitely a position in the spread to focus on. What this may be hinting at is some kind of struggle with thought, specifically. So we are trying to wrap our heads around something. If we are tying into the complexity from yesterday, maybe it's something like that. We are trying to wrap our heads around something conceptual today, some kind of conflict we've been dealing with, some kind of situation in our life that we are wanting to resolve, or that we know we just kind of have to plod through or struggle through. Thinking about how to approach that intellectually is being called for. With this card, I think it's saying, and our intention, it's saying focus on how you can intellectually approach the struggle. I think we're definitely thinking about struggle today, moving through some difficulty. But I think it's also, I think if we can approach that intellectually, that's going to be the best way to move forward. The characters in the card are definitely moving forward. So they are pushing through something. Let's think about approaching whatever that struggle is with an intellectual approach, an enlightened approach, and a sense of self-trust. I think when I talk about intellectualism, self-trust is really involved in that, because I feel like we got to trust ourselves, trust what we know, trust what we've learned in particular. But let's see the rest of the cards, and hopefully there's some clarity. So the second card that I draw is in the feeling position, and that card is the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups in feeling, I think for me, definitely shows a relationship to the past, almost like the past communicating with the present. With that, there's also a sense of an elder or someone in your group or someone in your life who you share memories with consistently. I say an elder because I really mean someone who maybe is presented slightly as an authority figure to you, or maybe even just that mature part of yourself that you engage with the past with. A storyteller of your past, something like that. But I think in this case, because it's feeling, because we're talking about intellectualism, I think maybe it's maybe just an engagement emotionally with the past. I think because it's up right here, there's almost this positive sense of the past informing the present. Some memory, some study you've done, again, intellectualism here, I think maybe something you have learned from the past that maybe you've forgotten or maybe you haven't really engaged with. I think that is hinting at showing up today, or at least being emotionally important. We're in the feeling position. So kind of remembering how some past event or some past study has impacted you emotionally, and kind of tapping into that. And maybe that's what's going to help us move through whatever that struggle we're kind of focusing on. I think engaging intellectually with the past, or engaging with some past intellectual pursuit, is being called for. But let's see what the doing position card is and see what that tells us. Okay, so in the doing position, I draw the Ace of Swords. That's a great card to see in a spread with the intention having to do with the intellect. We have swords here, representative of intellect. We have an ace, the Ace of Swords. The essence of intellect is in this card. And there's also a sense of the ability to wield intellect with the ace. The strong grip on the sword here. The crown, showing that we have an authoritative approach, an authority over our intellect. The ability to wield it is called for here. So what this shows me is that we got this today. We got it. We are going to be able to tap into this intellectual approach. We are going to be able to engage with intellectualism today. The sword in doing shows me that. So that's a huge relief. I'm going to definitely then trust myself, trust my ability to wield intellect, to understand it. I think with the Six of Cups in feeling, I think that whatever that past situation is, whatever that memory is, I think the Ace of Swords here is showing me I'll be able to tap into exactly what that is. So don't question yourself. If you're thinking about something, if some kind of struggle you're moving forward with, you're thinking about some kind of past knowledge, the Ace of Swords here is saying you'll be able to combine those two to not only help you get through that struggle, but to engage with your intellectual side the way you need to get through the day, to get through the week. Let's look at the Lenormand pair, though, and really see exactly what action we can take there. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle my Lenormand deck and repeat my intention: engaged intellectualism. At this point, the spread has been pretty clear so far, so I'm very interested to see what the Lenormand shows us. So I'm really trying to imbue the cards with intellect as I shuffle them. So let's take some deep breaths and do that together for a couple of moments. Okay, so I've brought the deck from chaos into wholeness, and I am ready to draw the first card in my pair. And that card turns out to be the lilies. The lilies, as I interpret it, is a lot about balancing kind of the yin and yang, kind of balancing two extremes. So it's a little bit complex. Seeing the lilies here, I'm thinking, okay, I don't see a ton about intellectualism there. I definitely see stuff about maturity. I see, again, hinting towards elders, weirdly, but also almost oxymoronically, almost in contrast, kind of purity, a sense of innocence and almost naivete, freshness. It's very interesting. The lilies is one of the most complex, if not the most complex, Lenormand card. But we're talking about engaged intellectualism. So I think we're talking about the mature side of the lilies here. But I'll see the second card to inform that. And the second card I draw in the pair is the child. Okay, so the child, the opposite of maturity. The child, the opposite of an elder. I think this pair is reminding us what we learned about how to deal with complex situations from yesterday. I think here we have opposites in a pair. Here also, the child could be informing the purity in the lilies. The child could be informing the newness of the lilies, the freshness of the lilies. The child could also be hinting at some kind of new beginning, some kind of new fresh start. I think combined with the lilies, there is maybe this sense of that. But remember, our intention for today is engaged intellectualism. And the tarot spread we drew hinted at our ability to wield our intellect, our engagement with some part of us that remembers something we've learned, our thinking about how we can combine all of that with the idea of intellectually moving through some kind of situation in our life, some struggle, something we're dealing with, trying to push through. The child and the lily, especially in the Lenormand spread where we're talking about action, I think is showing us we need to trust our mature side. We need to trust our intellectual side. We need to trust our ability to wield that, to control our intellect. We know what we know. We've learned what we learned. We studied what we needed to study. And all of that is locked in for us. We know that. We can trust that today. because the lilies and the child is hinting at a new beginning, is hinting at using that intellectualism, engaging with that intellect, but being able to be young, free, fresh. Have that in the back of your mind, the intellectual part of yourself in the back of your mind, but lead today forward. Lead with a sense of being pure, fresh, and open. And tap into a little youth today. A lot of mature elements to the spread today, a lot of hinting towards elders. The child finishes everything off by saying, but don't forget about youth, about your inner youth. Don't forget that there is, as much as there's a side of you that is powerful and intellectual and pragmatic, there's another side of you that's just as important, that's young and fresh and vibrant and ready to move forward with something new. You can approach life. You can approach life with a sense of newness and freshness, almost more if you can know what you know. So know what you know, but move forward with a sense of beauty and hope and a sense that the freshness of the future is waiting. And maybe that's the other side of that struggle. If you can get through this struggle intellectually by engaging with your intellect, the other side of that is potentially a new beginning, something fresh, something pure. I hope so. I'll see you tomorrow.